All right, we're live.
Sweet. That sure reminds me, I better turn this one
Oh,
off. There we go. We are live.
so feel free to chat, guys, while I go downstairs.
Cool.
So this is the Evan relocates to the iPad portion of the show.
Sits outside. Yeah, exactly. Chris, if you need to go get a beer, now's the time. Same with you, Ryan. What are you guys drinking?
I started a nice beer about 30 minutes, 45 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, a little primer.
Yeah, it's been a long day, should we say? Well, actually, a long couple of days with some of the shit that went on with Wiser and some of the other stuff. So between that and these topics, it's like, yeah, we're gonna kick the can off. We're gonna crack open a beer.
For sure.
Sounds like somebody says there's no audio for you, Chris, but I don't know. I hear you just fine.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Jason, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm getting a haircut tomorrow.
Yeah, you got.
I'm gonna get a haircut tomorrow. I'm gonna look beautiful again.
All right.
Getting too much of this in my mouth.
Oh, Jason Rogers, apparent. So did Jason have me? Did Jason just?
He said, "Never mind," in all caps. He just yelled at us. He's like,
"Never
mind."
All good. It's not good when the technical guy who runs like half of the internet can't actually get shit to work, Jason. Just going to point this one out.
Yeah, and he screamed at us. It's like he's got anger issues or something.
Probably running a Windows.
So you guys talk amongst yourselves. I'll be back.
Yeah, totally.
So how's the widget come along? Your little gadgetry that DDoSes.
Oh, yeah. Did the neighborhood system really well. Yeah, took down portions of, let's just say it's working. It's actually not a bad little beastie. I had it running in the lab on some of the gear that I have here, running between like Bluetooth, BLE, and a couple of the other systems. And then it found the neighbor's wireless network and apparently took some of their stuff out.
Oops.
Yeah, I know. It's just one of like, I keep forgetting to like put geofencing or any kind of like IP boundaries in these things sometimes. So it just went off and had some fun. It's like, yeah.
When you come to visit, I need you to fix the firmware on my Marantz. It refuses to maintain a freaking connection. You've got to repair like every third time, and it's driving me nuts. And I know it's some kind of caching they're doing.
Do I still have my Marantz? No, I think I got rid of my Marantz. I ended up keeping the Yamaha. Actually, I can't remember which one I kept. It's upstairs on the main system. The system I have down here that is purely for 2-channel audio, I've got a pair of monoblocks, Adcoms from like late 80s, early 90s, freaking totally refurbished. I love them. And it's running through a DAC converter and then just out to that. But yeah, I think you see the Yamaha is upstairs. The Marantzas are nice. Yeah, those things are a pain in the ass on the audio gear. They're a pain in the ass. I have broken a number of those over the times when I've kind of broken into them in people's homes. And then, I mean, it's great because you get into that, you're out to everything.
Yep. And when it doesn't have a network connection, it gets pissy and starts to behave poorly.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. They get all upset. I ended up one of them. I ended up plugging it into Netgear does IP over power. So it would. Evan's got 3 going. There's 3 Evans. All right, so the audience can't see this probably, but we've got 3 Evans on our Zoom conference at the moment. He's cloning himself. He's actually beat me to cloning. Bless his cotton socks. Apparently, that's what we've been doing.
One of them's a deep fake.
Deep fake.
My shirt.
Oh dear. Rachel's here. Yay. All right, we got Rachel online as well. Rachel will keep tabs on everybody for us, thankfully.
All right. Here we are, gentlemen.
Yay, awesome. Fantastic.
How many are there me? Oh, just 2.
Yeah, there's 2 of you now. There were 3 of you.
You were up to 3.
Yeah.
What the hell happened to the third? Shit. My third personality went somewhere else? That's
I think
big.
so. It disappeared. Who knows? It's technology. I have given up with technology, I have to admit. I took
Good.
the analog car out this afternoon. I gave up at about, I don't know, whatever time it was this afternoon, and I'm like, sod it, I need a break. So I actually took the more analog of the cars that I have out, and big old American V8 engine, 302 cubic inches, and just took that out and shifted 6 gears and enjoyed myself. Now we've lost him again.
No, I'm good. I'm trying to find that slide deck. We're good.
Got it.
I'm still here.
Second.
Nice. So what you're saying is one of your forms of therapy is getting and letting the little horses out of the.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's, the challenge is that, and I've done that for years. I remember many, many years ago when I was with a former significant other. When everything was seriously going south, I remember taking the car out and just going up into the hills, and 11, 12 o'clock at night, just going up into the hills for 2, 3, 4 hours. It's my way, because I can get into a rhythm. I used to race and rally drive, so I can. You almost put like a set of autopilot systems on, and you can process, and it's math. It's just pure math at that point, and it's so freaking calming and soothing. You get to a point that you can calm the brain down and go, okay, what the hell am I going to do? And I used to do that tons of times. Now it's just a case of like, I want to get the hell away from electronics.
Yep. So true. So we have a deep topic today. We're talking about some mental health things. And I think we all have stories to share. I know I certainly do. Even one very recent where, I kind of got right in the last week or two, which is good. I mean, it's good to share that. I think it's good to be vulnerable. It's good to share these, our wounds, our scars with other people, because they can relate to it. And if we can get one person to, come out of the dark a little bit, then it's worth it. You know what I mean?
Just a heads up. I don't know if you saw the chat I just chucked in there. You're a little quiet, Evan, at the moment.
Damn it. What the hell? Technology, man.
I know. Do your mic test and just hit the input level a little bit.
All right. I can do this too.
We've got Vicky with us as well. Hey, shout out for Vicky. Actually, we've got a bunch of folks. Got a couple of new faces, which was nice. Trying to say, oh yeah, Daniel, another one. So there's some good people, which is kind of cool. How about you, Ryan? While Evan's doing that stuff.
Yeah. So.
Or...
Well, I mean, so for me, this topic tonight is very personal. I have a lot of different experience with it, from personally having it, from having family that have had it, from raising a child who deals with it. So, this one's pretty deep and close to me, because, I live it, and I know it, and I know everybody else lives it. I was talking to a friend of mine about doing this episode tonight. And I said, to be honest, I have yet to meet a human being who is not dealing with it in one way or another, whether or not it's an active dealing or a passive dealing, because it affects you either way, whether you choose to participate in managing it, or in the case of some of the story I might tell later, like what happens when you don't choose to participate and where that can lead, So, yeah, I mean, yeah, I know a lot of times I'm smiley and laughy, but and then humor for me is part of how I cope. So if I laugh at something tonight or something like that, it's not meant to offend anybody, but that's part of my coping mechanism, right? The darkest things I tend to find a way to poke fun at, so that I can at least come to a reckoning with it. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I knew tonight would be a little bit heavy, so yeah. I've come prepared.
What do you got? What have you got? Anything good?
Well, Grain Belt, nice cold Minnesota beer, crisp, light. You can see through it. It really, if I pour it in the glass and you look at it, you'll be like, "Is that water?" I think it might be close to water.
He's stronger than that, for crying out loud.
Can you guys hear me okay now?
Yeah, there we go. Now we got you.
All right. Yeah, I'm on the phone and the iPad.
and the computer upstairs. So whatever, we'll figure it out.
We're triangulating. We just need to get a boom mic and a shotgun mic, and we're good
There
to
we go.
Right.
That's what we need.
Well, so I did put together a couple of slides tonight too. I wanted to, just give people some resources. And I also wanted to put, remember some people. Every time I give a talk, there's one person in particular that I always bring up because he was somebody that, I love dearly, and he was only 24 years old when he, tragically took his own life. He had so much potential ahead of him. And he was just a wonderful person. And nobody, at least I didn't know that he was struggling with the things he was struggling with. That's the ultimate sort of end to this, when you can't find your way out, or, whatever lies you're believing in, that nobody cares, that nobody else can relate to this, or, whatever darkness you're in. He was just a person that, his name is Robbie Bragg, and he's a person that, I still remember the day. I still remember exactly when I heard that he took his own life. I was at dinner with my family, having pizza. It was a happy day. And then I got the call from Peter, and Ryan, you know who Peter is. At the time, Peter was running HR, and Peter called me and told me the news, and I was numb for, I don't know, hours. Couldn't believe it. So anyway, I put together just a few slides. I'm going to share them quick, and then we can get into talking kind of, about, more of this stuff. I think I can share it. Let's see if I can do it. iPads are not made for Zoom, man.
No, I mean, they are if you just want to do one thing and one thing only. That's it.
Right? I'm going to do a screen broadcast. Let's see what the hell that does.
I just realized this thing's having a bit of a freak out with the lights, with the light color. I'm just seeing.
Can you see my shit now?
Yeah, there we go.
All right. So these are just some resources, some slides I put together, and they'll be in the recording, and there'll be things that I'll make available again at the end of this. But I quoted a lot of in the blog post. I quoted a lot of things from NAMI. That's the National Alliance of Mental Illness, and that's the the link. They're one of the oldest, I think, most established nonprofits around just mental illness. The issues that we all face. And if you look at the stats that were on the blog, and we can talk about some of those things when we get to it, they're really troubling. When you think about how many people actually suffer from mental illness and how few actually get help, it's less than half. So there's a helpline there that you can call. You can text NAMI to 741-741 if at any time you're needing something. You're needing somebody to talk to. The other one there is SAM HSA or SAM HSA or whatever you want to call it. And you can see the Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That's the administration that runs that. So put these numbers in your phone. Make them, even if you're not suffering with mental health issues or you feel like you're in a pretty good spot, it's still good to have on your phone. It's good to have for others. If other people are struggling with things. Now the next slide I've got are two places where you can go to help other people. If you feel like you're, you have an urge, you have a calling to help other people, Mental Health Hackers is a great organization that, I actively support, that FR Secure actively supports as a sponsor. Just a great place. They're not healthcare professionals per se, but they bring awareness to, some of the mental health issues that we all sort of struggle with in our industry. So it's more industry specific. They have awesome ass t-shirts. So I think my wife gets pissed off because, I wear them and she washes them and then I wear them again.
Yeah, same thing. Love wearing mine.
Yeah, but it's a cool ass cat at a keyboard. Who doesn't want to wear that?
Yeah.
And then this other one, which I've been putting off myself. It's this Mental Health First Aid USA. It's a place where you can go and actually get a certification on mental health first aid. It just prepares you for, what do you do when you encounter a friend maybe that's showing signs of, mental illness or struggling. One of the things that, I've heard is, I don't feel qualified to talk to somebody, that is struggling. And that's kind of a lie too, because sometimes all they need is just somebody to talk to, somebody to point them in the right direction. But if you want to do more, you can go get certified. You can actually get certified here to be an instructor as well. And I'll go ahead and make an offer that, the first 10 people that contact me that want to go get first aid, I need to do it myself. I'll pay for it. So, reach out to me. And,
That's
the more we can
something
get.
Morgan did. That's she did it at the high school she's at. They actually run like an early morning class, and she's been doing it for kind of a year or two now. It's actually really cool where they teach them all the first aid stuff, all the EMT side of the world, the whole lot. Really freaking cool. I'm actually really pleased that she's doing that.
Yeah, and Ryan, you and I were going to do it together, but we've been so damn busy. We just need to make it a priority.
You just got to do it, dude. We
Yep.
just got to get it on the calendar and get it done. That's our challenge. You know that. When it comes to working together, we have to like block time.
I know.
Get stuff done. We'll tell Marlis, you're listening. So here you go. You need to book time in the next couple weeks to go and attend the mental health first aid course. Please and thank you. You're wonderful. We love you.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Jason just asked a question. I saw it as it went through. Evan, you okay sharing those slides on like LinkedIn or something later so that people can get to them?
100%. Yep.
Cool.
Actually, I'll give them to you. You have a really good following, Chris. So
Yeah.
I'll give them to you as well. You can post them. I'll post them, and the more the merrier.
I'll put them in that post that I did today, that I dropped out there today, because it looks like they got a bunch of people. So I'll make sure it's on that.
Cool. And then the last is, I think it's good to remember people. These are, like I said, there's Robbie Bragg, 24-year-old, just amazing kid, had so much potential. It still breaks my heart. Sometimes it brings tears to my eyes. Justin Widener was a very close friend of mine. He was a fellow biker. He was a former partner very early on with FR Secure. His struggle was, he had a brother that he was really, really close to growing up. And at church, they used to go down the stairs, and, sometimes you would grab onto the top thing and swing on the stairs, as you're going down, as boys and kids would do. Well, his brother was going down the stairs in front of him. His brother did that, swung, slipped off, hit his head, and died. And Justin never forgave himself for that, to the point where, at the end, he took his own life. So, and I bring these things up, they're downers, I get that, but, it's also reality that people close to us suffer. And, I don't feel guilty about it anymore, because I think guilt is a lie also. But I feel like I can be better, and be there for people more. And then here's just people that, we've heard of before. Barnaby Jack was an amazing.
Jeez. And Lama, yeah.
Right?
Too many in our industry. I mean, coming from the military side as well. I mean, the statistics in the military just are absolutely fucking awful. It's like 20 or 21 people a day. I mean, it's just horrendous. And that's US only. You come from the UK side of things as well, and it's not pretty at all. And I mean, it's, we were just talking about it a little bit on the chat here, which is, I mean, when I was in, it was, suck it up, put it in the box, lock it away, get your shit done, get on with it. And, that's, to some degree, that's the attitude I still, I waver. That's part of the attitude I still have these days. It's like, everybody's got a problem, shut the fuck up and just get on with it. But that doesn't solve anything, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that is a military thing, man. I grew up an only child with two military, two Marine Corps parents, and it was a lot of that. Like, suck it up.
Yep.
And sometimes you can't suck it up. Sometimes you need help sucking it up. And for those of you who don't know these people, Barnaby Jack was one of my favorites. mean, an immense amount of skill. And he actually died of a drug overdose in, I think, 2013, just before Black Hat, if I recall.
Yep.
Adrian also died from a drug overdose. Aaron took his own life, and so did Jonathan. Both of those two were under some serious federal pressure and prosecution, sort of at the time, that they didn't see another way out. So, and then Boris was, kind of a hidden story that if you look him up, not very well known, but still so much mystery around whether he was murdered or whether he took his own life. But I think the theory is, he did take his own life. So anyway, I wanted to put that together just as something, for us to share with others. Now we can get on with it.
Yeah, it's, it's tough because a lot, Robbie and others in his situation, they're out of rope from their perspective, right? They've exhausted all their options from their perspective, and that we a lot of times see as the immediate effect of mental health. And we don't a lot of times pay attention to the overeater that eats themselves to death, or the hoarder that hoards themselves to death, or, some of that longer, slower, less immediately dramatic, impact of the mental illness, right? I mean, drug addiction, I'm a huge believer that the majority of our homelessness and drug addiction is a direct result of untreated mental illness. And that the majority of our crime is a result of untreated mental illness, and we try to tackle these issues as standalone issues, and we don't factor in that, like, the average healthy human does not think that living in a city park outside in a tent is the best living they can achieve. That is not logical thinking. That is not healthy thinking, right? We see it manifest, I think, in some degree of racism. I think there's something there where you have this hate, this just raw hate inside you. Well, where does that really come from? I will concede that there is a percentage of the population that is just straight up sociopath garbage. I will say that. But I think for the majority of people, it's something deeper. It's hurt people. And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of with social media too, right? Hurt people. So that's my opener on that.
Yeah.
You're muted. Can't hear you.
Fucking technology. That's not enough to drive you crazy.
And now he's frozen.
I've got an addictive personality, so what are you laughing at? Am I still not coming through?
No, you're good. We got
at least on my machine, you froze.
Yeah, we got you now.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good.
I am also good. Ryan, right? Is that the name?
Last time I checked.
And who's the hairy guy over here?
Bug it if I know. Tell you, I'm going back to the damn shade.
He's the Squatch.
Sasquatch.
You know what? We gave each other biker nicknames. Me and the people I was with. Mine was Pepper, because I like hot shit. Marlis's was what the hell was her name? Oh shit. Oh, Two Shots. We were in Deadwood, and she ordered a Bloody Mary. it damn near fucked her up. So we called her Two Shots because two shots. Anyway, but I've got this addictive personality, and you and I, Ryan, both suffer from, I think, ADHD.
I know. I do.
What an addict does, I don't know if you know addicts, but what an addict does is, at least the way I work, is I take my addiction and put it from one thing to another to another. So at one point, you know, I was addicted to alcohol, and I could drink like a son of a bitch. And it was a medication. It is a mental disorder. It's not normal to drink the way I drank. So then I quit drinking. Well, then I just took my addiction and put it on something else. It was gaming at the time. So then I was like the best fucking Call of Duty player ever. How could you not be? I spent 50 hours a week on it.
Yeah.
Right. And then, you know, then it's like, oh shit, this is bad. So then I took my addiction and put it onto work. And I took my addiction and put it onto something else. And thank God I've got people around me that hold me accountable and that also will call me out on things. Otherwise, I don't know where I'd be right now, man. I mean, a lot of this stuff gets really dark. It feels really lonely. It feels like nobody can understand what the hell I'm going through. And it's frustrating. You know, it gets to a point sometimes when you just want to break down. And I do break down. You know, I'm not immune to this shit like anybody else is. You know, there are times when I just want to fucking end it. Or there's times when I just cry. You know, especially this year. This year's been such a fucked up year, you know, with COVID, and I can't understand the damn data. I can't understand why the hell we're freaking out the way we are, because I don't see it. That doesn't mean it's not there. It just means I don't see it. I don't see why we do the things we do. And so I sit here and try to make sense of shit. And I've realized and I've learned that the more I try to make sense of insanity, the more insane I become. So maybe I should just stop trying to make sense out of insanity and just try to live my life and focus on the things I can control. That's one of the things I learned this last week, because I didn't realize how far I had slipped. It's sort of ironic that we're talking today about mental health, and we planned this a couple of weeks ago, and it was really an epiphany happened on Thursday when I left to go to Sturgis. I didn't realize how broken I was. I didn't realize how far I had fallen until I got disconnected. I got taken away from the constant barrage of news bullshit, the constant barrage of work shit, the constant barrage of electronic shit. And I got away on a motorcycle on the open road with my wife. That was my therapy. And I realized that my wife had been telling me for months that I was wrong, that I was off, that I wasn't right. My mind wasn't right. And then what I did is I kept blowing her off. I kept telling her, whatever, what do you know? You know, or I'd get irritated with her. Even worse, I'd get angry. You know, just stop fucking hounding me about this. I'm fine. Well, that's not good for a relationship, because it's somebody that cares deeply about you, that's trying to help you, and I'm blowing her off. Right? And then, you know, so then you go to this, you know, you get away, and then I realize, holy shit, she was 100% right. And Ryan, to your credit, you had also told me that I was off, that I wasn't myself. So coming back, you know, I feel healed. I feel refreshed. I feel like I've learned some things. Thank God, you know, that it worked out the way it did, because I was in a dark spot and I was going worse every day. So that's just kind of the recent stuff I've, you know, kind of been dealing with my own mental health. But it'll crop up again. You know, it's not one thing. It's just, you don't just solve it and it never comes back. You have to be aware of it.
Well, and it comes in all kinds of flavors, right? So ADHD, right? I've been dealing with this since I was 8 years old. That's when I got diagnosed. Prior to that, we were just called bad children. It wasn't a thing yet. And it can be so hard to hold the most basic of thoughts together, like the stuff that everybody else seems to just breeze through. Like, I've got shoes on my feet. I made it to the car with my pants on and everything I need for my day. That stuff will just tip me clean over and take 4 or 5 attempts to get right before I leave the house. But yet I can do this work, or I can, you know, dive into blacksmithing and metallurgy and just lose myself in that and become quite knowledgeable in those areas without any effort whatsoever. Well, when you can't get the basic stuff right, when if I didn't have my wife reminding me to do things like eat and drink and not, hey, bed is good once in a while, right? It would not be good. Well, then you start to get anxious. Anxiety is something that comes with ADHD. ADHD will cause anxiety because you are juggling plates and you're catching all of them mid-drop. So every plate you catch is already halfway to falling. So that gives you anxiety. Live with anxiety long enough, you'll start to feel bad about yourself. Then you start going into the depression, right? And then there's, the whole aspect of healthy versus unhealthy coping mechanisms and what's good for you versus not so good for you, right? I used to play a lot of video games too. Not so good for me, right? Drugs, right? Drugs are great. How many different flavors of escape can I be exposed to, right? But the problem is then that behavior begets behavior that is destructive. Drugs are a slippery slope that generally winds up in disaster. Drinking is included in that category. Alcohol does not, and that's another show for another day, the alcohol versus pot debate. But alcohol is a strong drug that causes a lot of trouble, especially when it comes to mental illness. And then there's stigma. So I want to make sure we hit on that. I think stigma is really fucking stupid. Because everybody's got it, man. I haven't met a human being alive to date that I'm not like, yeah, bullshit, something's not quite right. Either somebody hugged you too much, not enough. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got whatever that trauma event was. Chris, you've been to combat. That leaves a mark. Three of us have talked about our parent options, and that does something.
Yeah,
I do think there's
physical and mental marks in that case.
Right, and I think there is some personal ownership to how you allow that to continue to impact you and things that you can do to be more healthy. I think there is some personal accountability in mental health. You have to be an active participant. There is no pill or set of pills. Pills can help. Pills are not the magic bullet.
Mm-mm.
And I know because I live in a household where my wife's medication dictates the type of day I'm gonna have. Okay, and for me, I hate having to take my medication. I've never had to take it more than I have had during COVID, and I hate it because I hate the side effects. Here, Ryan, here's a bottle of meth, literal meth. Yes, it's pharmacy grade, so.
But it's
sores, I'm not itchy because it wasn't made in a bathtub.
Mm-hmm.
But it's meth. It has an effect on appetite. It has an effect on sexual drive. It has an effect on, all these things that make me not me. Which then, and that's the whole other side of it. Like people try to fix medication. And by the way, this is what ADHD looks like. Notice how I'm hopping all over the place and I can't hold a string of thoughts together. Yeah.
We have the 4 squirrels this evening. It's as simple as that. All squirrels are in symphony, and yet it is what it is. People are going to have to suck it up.
Squirrels are sweet tightrope walkers. Have I told you that before?
They are. They're really good at that. So, here's one for you in case you guys don't know. Anger depression. It's a thing. It took me and my wife 15 years to learn this. It was mistreated, misdiagnosed, this, that, the next thing. Till finally a doctor goes, yeah, that's a thing. So instead of getting sad, you get angry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
So, and yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. It's tough to have it. It's tough to be a spouse of somebody that has something that's different than yours. I get along with ADHD people just fine. We jive. I don't have anger depression. It's hard for me to understand it, even though I want to understand it.
Yeah, you're right, man. It's and we've all got things, and some of the things, I've always kind of thought of like mental, like
what's normal? You know what I mean? Yeah, right? It's like, I don't
The
even
three
know.
S's, Evan. The three S's. That's normal.
Yeah, right?
We ever find normal, I want to pin it and put it in a fucking box.
Yeah. Because, my wife is she's a structured person, right? So she likes a schedule. She likes a plan. I hate plans. I hate schedules. I just want to fly by the seat of my pants and do the shit I want to do right now, and whatever. Let the chips fall where they may. And so, like, I never get up at the same time every morning. One morning I might get up at 4:30 in the morning. Another time I might get up at 2:30 in the morning. Another time I might get up at 7. I don't even know what time I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'll get up wherever the fuck I feel like getting up.
Yeah.
Now, for some people, that drives people crazy, and others may look at that and go, "That is crazy, man." I mean, who operates like that? Well, I do. And so there's a fine line between normal and abnormal. And I think maybe the line is when there's negative consequences associated with your outlook or your behavior, then it becomes a problem. So if there's no negative consequences of me getting up at weird times of the day, embrace it. Right? But if there are negative consequences that come with it.
So our industry, I mean, if you think about it, our industry arguably either A, embraces it, or as B, figured out a way to work around so much of this. I mean, you think about from a success, how successful we are in the industry because we've managed to harness what we have, for good or for bad. I mean, I'm sitting here with, I've got 3 systems here, 2 more behind me, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I got 10 open windows going on this system, 2 open windows going on this, and I know what's going on in each one of them. And I can hold those conversations across each one relatively successfully to the most part. That's good, but it's also not good when you step away and you then have to take, a number of hours to decompress, come away from it, step out of it, and try to figure out the sleep schedule and all the other stuff, to your point, that goes with it. Let alone everything else that's going on, let alone I was joking about it the other today with Jen, who looks after all the stuff here, and she's like, well, how many projects do we have on the go at the moment? I'm like, about 18 or 19. She's like, how many of those are in your head? I'm like, about 16 or 17. Yeah.
Well, and there's something there. Like, honestly, what I've learned is some people, and those people generally tend to be ADD or ADHD, are able to hold layers of abstraction of thought, which is really what's required for a lot of what we do. Like, new ideas come out of layers of abstraction of thought, where you're in this multiverse inside your mind.
Yeah.
It's God, I don't remember the guy's name, but he painted the stairwell paintings. One of you two guys know this. Somebody knows this.
Oh, Escher.
Escher. There you go.
I actually have the metamorphosis sequence on the whiskey wall. It's actually a set of 4. It's 24 foot long.
Fantastic. Oh, wow. I love this.
Yeah.
Right. But that's and why? And so, Chris, here's a pointed question. Why does that art resonate with you?
I love it. I mean, it's fascinating and it's fun because what I love about it is the mathematics behind it, the architecture behind it, the way the sequencing works. I mean, this is why I sit and I read quantum mechanics books and quantum physics books, and freaking we're talking about entanglement, particle architecture. That's not my background, but I have a passion in it, and I love it because it's something different. But then you flip that around, and I spend the rest of my time talking to Wiser about training people on how not to click shit properly. I guess it depends on how you look at it. It's so exploring the brain.
So exactly right, and I think that's an inherent quality in a lot of the people who do the net new, who do the thinking, the expanding, right, if you will, whether they are a physicist, whether they're a physician, whether they work in our industry. It seems to be a common theme, but with that comes pressure. And here's where I take that. So with the 3 of us, right, we have our own internal issues and our own mental health. Do you ever feel at a time that we have to be visible because of what we do, but that's on the day that we want to be invisible because of
Oh.
how we feel.
Fucking absolutely. I mean, the fact I'm in a
I'd rather
house,
be invisible all the time.
I'm in a house and I relish the fact that my lab and my workspace and my whiskey room are in the basement, and I can put the blackout curtains down. I can disappear. I relish that. I love that. I absolutely.
Yeah, I do
But
too.
the flip side is, I'm also, I've been told, and people tell me I'm good on stage. I get up, I get talk, I storytell, and everything else. So but I have to force myself to do that. And it's the same thing when, and it's not being an arse, but I get horribly frustrated by so many people so much of the time, because I'm like, why can't you see this? Why doesn't this work? Why isn't this? And you've got to take that step back and figure out, okay, I'm not explaining it effectively enough.
Well, that, and Chris, I feel the same things a lot. Do you guys ever feel like you see things that other people can't see?
Yeah.
I mean,
all the time. Because what other explanation is there? Because you were presented the same evidence I was, and I saw it this way, and you look back at me like a deer in Evan's headlights. So.
Well, it's like solutions to problems, right? Sometimes you'll see a problem, and you're like, all right, this is the solution. And not only the solution, but it's like you said, it's maybe 2 or 3 layers of abstract to an ultimate solution, like a solution to many things.
Do you remember? I was forever getting yelled at school because there's the answer, done. Don't ask me how I worked it out. There's the answer, and you only got maybe 50% of the marks because you didn't demonstrate how you figured the shit out. Yeah, that always.
I call it the dots between the dots.
Yes.
Well, then I think that being the fact that nobody else sees it, or it seems like nobody else sees it, what the hell's wrong with me? Sometimes it gets there. It's like, am I crazy? Why don't people see this? To me, it seems very obvious. And it's not that I don't know. I don't like to think that I have any special skills or anything else. I just know what I know and do what I do. But fuck.
Well, you even said it to me, Evan. You made a comment to me a few weeks ago about the variety of stuff I get into and the variety of interests that I have and time that I put into various hobbies that really have nothing to do with each other and couldn't possibly be further apart from each other from a cultural perspective, like of traditionally who gets into those hobbies, from what those hobbies have to do with each other. And people have said to me before, like, what haven't you done? And of course, the list is enormous. There's tons of things I haven't done, but I have done a lot of things because I have an insatiable curiosity to want to figure out how it works. And then once I do it, and I do it to a level of proficiency, I generally become bored and want to try something else. And part of that is the busier my mind is, the less distracted it is, which is a coping mechanism I've developed over the years. So yeah. I love trying to solve the hardest problem in our industry because it keeps me from going insane.
Yep, similar mentality. It's like I have to. There is actually a part of me, and this isn't a cut on anybody in any way, shape, or form. There is a part of me, and I've had this conversation with people before. I'm envious of people that can go into work on a normal hour, leave on a normal hour, and walk away from it, and go back the following day and do the same thing again, or they have a career progression in a regular, a normal. I'm fucking envious of those people because I've tried it. I've tried it a bunch of times. I have failed spectacularly. I've been fired from some of them. I've walked out of them. I lasted up until lunchtime of day one on one of them. I haven't figured it out. I haven't figured out how to do that separation. I'm lucky this industry exists. When I left the military, I came out because I didn't like the person I was becoming. I looked in the mirror and I realized I had absolutely no problem with putting a bullet between somebody's eyes. No issues at all. No problems, no collars. I did what I needed to do. I was doing what I needed to do. End of discussion. And I didn't care. And you get to that point and you're like, okay, I'm not sure I kind of like the person that I'm becoming. I don't know if I want to be this person. So I took a step back and, ended up basically doing reserves. And we still were deployed, for 3 out of the 5 years in reserves.
Right.
and then went back into this industry. I mean, I am eternally grateful that this industry exists, because if it didn't, fuck knows if I know what the hell I'd be doing. I'd probably be a criminal. Let's be perfectly honest.
My brain
That's where I
doesn't want to
was
stop. Do you guys ever suffer from this?
Hmm?
Where my brain will latch on to something
Oh.
significant or insignificant. And that's my favorite when it's completely fucking useless to my life. And it will latch onto it and not give up until it is completely dissected, put into 8 different dimensions and reconstructed before it can possibly let that train of thought go.
Yep.
And it'll be the dumbest thing at the most inappropriate time.
Well, dude, that's exactly why I was going crazy this last time. There's always something for me. And this last time it was COVID. I have 150 spreadsheets of fucking data, that I was manipulating and trying to figure out what the hell is the real pattern? What the hell really is the issue here? Is it as bad as people say it is? Is the data even any good? I mean, I was dissecting it 85 different ways. And then the social injustice thing started more, right? With the George Floyd, tragedy and everything else after. And then my mind was like, and I'm not getting political here, but I'm trying to think, is there a correlation between what political party runs what, state, local government, and just crime rates and all this other bullshit. I mean, I had another 50 spreadsheets going. I'm like, who the hell does this shit? Stop.
Well, but you were trying to find, we talked about this, is trying to find your anchor. And that, I mean, COVID, wherever you were, wherever your mental health was, wherever your life was, whatever was happening, take the scale and add 10 points of intensity. That's what you get with the COVID. And then you're trying to rationalize it. Myself, same thing, trying to find anchor points. I'm envious of the trip you took to South Dakota because it was normality. No, it was normality. You went to a place where stuff was about 97% normal, right? You still had masks here and there. You still had some protocol of some sort. I'm sure there was,
Not really.
No,
Awesome.
nothing.
No.
Well, then I'm doubling.
No, man.
So it's like 98, 99%.
Well, and my wife and I had discussions about this. I'm willing to risk my physical health for the sake of my mental health. In this instance, we need to do this. So, and I will come home, and if I have COVID, so be it. I will self-isolate so I don't get anybody else sick. I'm not going anywhere for 14 days. And, let the chips fall where they may. I can't live the way I was living.
I have to be, I've listened and again, I look at this year, I got to be honest, for me, this year's a walk in the park compared to how last year was for me.
Oh.
Yeah, this year.
That's a shit year, Chris.
This year's a walk in the park. I got nothing to fucking complain about compared to how last year was. The only reason I'm here is because that 4-pawed animal over there. That's it. Not my daughter, not Jen. The only reason I'm here is because that 4-pawed dog. I wouldn't have made it otherwise. End of discussion. Last year was not a good year. The shit with the ex coming to a head, 7 or 8 years worth of legal battle and ending up losing that. And realizing, I have a noose around my neck for the next X number of years, until basically I get rid of the best part of, $800,000 worth of debt that I signed that I should never have signed a document. The fight for my daughter, all of that. That was that and a bunch of other things that happened at the same time. Yeah. This year, walk in the fucking park.
Well, thank God you're here, man. Thank God you're here.
Oh,
seriously.
I mean, yeah, Jen will tell you, Eddie will tell you, Eddie Mines will probably, I talked to him a little bit, but not much. that it was either just going to be a disappear or something else. And it wasn't an easy way out. It was just, I'm done. I'm done fighting. I have no more fight left in me. There is nothing else left I can fucking do. I'm done. And in the end, what basically brought it back was, I cannot let that define who I am. I cannot let it be that way. I will do, and I still have a fight coming up in 2023. So, I got 2.5 years, 3 years to hunker down. And then I know I have another fight coming up when the 10-year anniversary of the note comes due. And then back in the courts, more fights, more shit. But yeah, I went through the worst of it. I mean, there are arrest warrants out, all sorts of shit. 7.
Do you feel better equipped? Did you acquire some tools last year that will help you get through 3?
I don't know. I mean, I learned. I mean, we talk about coping mechanisms. I probably have one of the worst. I will put it in a box. I will lock the box, and the box gets fucking buried. And I've done that for years. I've done it for, I did it from the military standpoint. I did it with my father. I did it for, I've done the married thing 3 times. And I have managed to successfully screw it up, at least twice out of those 3 times, and really badly, to the point where, I've got dockets and documents and shit for, that much data on each one of them in legal documents. And so I don't know if I'm better armed, shall we say. I have better lawyers now. Maybe that's a better way of putting it.
Oh, that's one tool.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's maybe part of it. Should have had that 7 or 8 years ago, but it is what it is. But I think maybe, we'll see. Quite honest, 2023, we'll see. Who knows? I have no good answer. I don't. We'll see what 2023 brings, to be perfectly honest. I don't see me getting to that brink again. The last time I got that close to anything, I was 15. And I was on the phone to this in the UK. The suicide hotline in the UK is actually run by the Samaritans. And at the time, the girlfriend I had at the time, her parents actually sat me down and handed me the telephone to the Samaritans. And I remember talking to the Samaritans a number of times over probably a 6-month period when I was 15. My father and I did not see eye to eye, is probably the nicest way I can put it. I still have a scar on the back of my head from one of the last fights we ever had. That scar will never go away. It actually fractured my skull. And so, he'd left. I actually found the letter that he left to my mother. I steamed open the letter, yay for kids. Steamed open the letter and read the letter, and then went and actually hid upstairs until my mother came home. So yeah, between that and, I had some pretty serious anger issues as a kid. Military was good for me, and bad for me, depends on how you look at it. It was good for me. Yeah. It probably saved me, to be honest. So yeah. I haven't gotten that close in a while. Let's just put it that way. Let's just put it this way. The weapons are back in the house. I took the weapons out of the house for a while last year.
Well, that was wise of you to do. That was actually a very wise thing.
Yeah.
And, if you find yourself in that situation again, obviously do that, but then that's also your red flag that it's time to.
And I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I've gotten to the stage. I think I'm fortunate that, the LinkedIn post I put out there, I'm analytical enough with myself to recognize these things and to know when something's going on. Not perfect, but I'm good enough to know when some of it's going on.
Well, I can relate on the anger issues, Chris. When I was a young man, I had some definite anger issues, and I did. In hindsight, I can look at it 100 different ways, but either way you want to spin it, my razor blade and my body wound up in contact with each other, and I wound up in the emergency room getting my wrist stitched back together.
Oh.
So. I got, we got a little,
We got, yeah.
and then the one that this way, then when here's my favorite part, when you're in the home with the other kids that did this shit, they go, hey, dummy, you don't go that direction, you go the other direction.
You go that direction, yeah.
I don't know, let's try that out then and see how that goes.
Yeah.
But the hustler in me quickly forgot about my own problems because I ended up setting a contraband goods distribution network up within the.
But that's it. We find a way. I mean, that's it.
And then I had a good time. And then I was like, whatever. And then one day they're like, you're cured. In other words, your insurance ran out. Go home.
Yeah.
Right? Insurance won't pay the next payment. Guess you can't stay here anymore. You're fine. Yeah. Talk to this guy every couple of weeks.
What do you do when you can't find a way out?
Now?
No, anytime. That's the thing. You never know when this is going to hit you. You never know when you're going to have another 2019. You never know when you're going to have another just dark episode of shit. You can't predict it, because if you could predict it, then I would be prepared for it. It wouldn't shake me to my core.
I think the problem is recognizing it and feeling like you can talk to somebody. I mean, honestly, 2019, I talked a little bit. I didn't talk about most of it. I talked, and I still haven't. I probably never will. As a kid, it was actually girlfriend's parents recognized the fact I didn't do quite the same as you. I actually went after medicine. I overdosed on medicine and got my stomach pumped. Yay, not doing that again. And then tried a few other things, unfortunately. And that's when basically the girlfriend's parents literally handed the phone and said, you will call the Samaritan. So it took somebody else to recognize it. Nowadays, I think I would recognize it. The problem is I don't like asking people for help. I'm fucking useless at it. I am absolutely fucking useless at it. I hate it. And it's not because I don't want to admit that I've screwed up or defeat. I am the poster child for saying that stuff in public. Everybody else has got fucking problems. Everybody else has got their own life to deal with. Everybody else, I mean, we're talking to people, and to me, it's like, I don't want to burden other people with shit that I've got going on. It's like, this is where the military part of me comes in and goes, I'll figure this shit out. I'll find a way. And at that point, you just got to hope that fuck it mentality can overrule any other fight or flight. It's fight or flight at that point.
Well, it's interesting you say the fuck it mentality, because I think there's some truth in this, but it comes with a caveat. So I was raised by a guy that was like, literally, fuck it to the world, fuck everything, I don't care. Nothing can hurt me anymore. This is the human that raised me, right? I got hurt a lot as a kid. I built up the most impenetrable fortress you could imagine. Nothing will ever hurt me again because I am apathetic to life itself.
Yeah. Yep.
Bad, not good. Still working on the old man. He's better now than he's ever been, but it's a progress. But I do think there is something to be had for the fuck it factor of not internalizing too much certain things. I use a prevention technique, and this is what I taught my son. And the prevention technique I use is there's the man I was, there's the man I am, and there's the man I'm trying to be. And I'm going to put my focus on the man I'm trying to be, and I'm not going to feel bad about the man that I was, and I'm not going to feel bad about the man that I am, because my focus and my energy is on the man I want to be. I'm going to make mistakes. I'm a stupid human. I'm going to hurt those that care about me. I'm a stupid human. I'm going to click the link. I'm a stupid human, right? This is the nature of the existence. And if I spend all this energy allowing myself to spiral down these holes about not good enough, not smart enough, not, who do I deserve to have the attention of people, and who am I to be here now tonight doing this, and all these things, right? If I give that food, it grows. But if I go, you know what? Oops. Sorry, my bad. I'm going to correct my behavior. Not sorry, and let me repeat it multiple times, but let me try to grow. Then I don't need to feel bad. And not saying it can't happen, not saying it doesn't happen, but it's a lot less frequency because I'm playing this mental game with myself of positivity and like, you know what? Yesterday was yesterday. Today you can do better.
So there's the thing, the logic, actually, to Evan's point, and this is actually bringing something back. I think what I learned, 2019 last year, and what I'm thinking now, and it's something, it's come out. I remember watching it in Tomorrowland, but it was also in a, there's a bunch of books on it, and it's that whole feed the right wolf. I only have a certain amount of me to give. There's only a certain, to me, it's, I look at it, I race, I like my cars. You have a contact patch on a wheel of like that much, let's face it. That's all that is basically channeling power. That contact patch can do a couple of different things. It can accelerate, it can brake, and it can turn. It can't do all three at 100%. So you have to choose what you do, and you have to choose very carefully sometimes. And to me, that was the same thing. And I remember talking to Jen about it. I remember talking to some friends about it. And it's like, look, I have two options. I can either spiral down, I can go hack the ex, I can go hack the fucking lawyer, I can cause chaos and fucking mayhem, or I can go, fuck it. I'm going to focus on the positive. I'm going to focus on either building a company or partnering with and building up something so that I can write a check in X number of years' time. And I'm going to focus on being the best I can, the most successful I can, all that other stuff that I'm doing what I can now, and I'll focus my energy there, or I just focus my energy and just say, fuck it, and just go hell for leather and revenge, which I've done that before. It doesn't work out well. So it's that feed the right wolf. And to me, I think what got me out of like 2019 to now is going, hey, I know where I can focus my energy. I know where I can put the best of me. The back of my mind, there's still this, you're not good enough. What the fuck are you doing? You're divorced 3 times. You're useless. You're a terrible ex-husband. You're terrible on this. You're an absolute bastard. You've been in court, all this other shit. But then I'm like, no, I will be the best I can in this industry. I'll be the best I can as a person. I'll do everything I possibly can. And fuck it, let's just see what happens.
And he's not going to mute.
Evans, he's on mute, or his phone's
Fuck that
dead.
mute.
There we are.
Keep putting him mute because I'm doing all kinds of other shit too. I'm listening. But there's a couple things that kind of resonated with what you guys were saying. One was, this pride thing. Pride sucks. It convinces you to do all kinds of shit that you shouldn't do. It convinces you that you shouldn't ask for help. It cheats other people out of when you do ask for help. When I came back from Sturgis, I wrote an email to my management team. I wrote it to my executive leadership team. I wrote it to my senior management team, who is the next layer down. And I wrote it to you, Ryan. And what I wrote in that email was, I expressed my gratitude with them giving me the time and the space to heal. Right. And I outlined the dark place that I was in prior to going without realizing it. I gave them the 2 tools that I came away with, that I learned, that will hopefully prevent me from getting in that dark spot again. And the showing the vulnerability that you have, actually, I think makes you more of a man, more of a woman, more of a person than you were before. Because what I got back from that was I got a text from one of those people who got that email who said, I didn't realize that you were struggling, man. I'm also struggling. Right? It's like, awesome, let's talk. So asking for help is not asking for help is actually a selfish thing, believe it or not. When you do ask for help, it's a selfless thing. The lie is it's selfish. It's pride that tells you, don't ask for help. It's, fuck it, you're too strong for this. Buck up. And that's been drilled into me, just like it's probably been drilled into you, Chris, from the military. You don't ask for help. Fuck that. I got this. I'll figure it out, especially a Marine. I mean, Marines are always picking themselves up by the bootstraps,
Yep.
I'll help you, but
Sally.
I'm going to take any help.
Suck it up.
What?
Suck it up.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah. It's a mantra I know
So
well.
Yeah.
And I got that drilled into me from birth, right? But, as I've grown and as I've learned, yeah, man, let people know. Let people know that I don't have all my shit together. I don't. I would never will. This is me. And hopefully, and that was the second thing that I learned. Another thing the other tool I learned was there are people that love me. you know, recognizing that, understanding that, believing that, like to your core, that people do give a shit. People do love you. You know, and I tell you, Chris, and I tell you, Ryan, and we tell each other that I love you. Those aren't just words.
Right.
I'm not just saying that because
Yeah,
it's
but trust
cute
is hard.
thing to say.
Trust, because you say love, you also say trust. They are synonymous. So trust is, you know, I was raised on a real simple philosophy. Nobody's looking out for you but you. Get them before they get you. Raised on. You want to talk about what you get ingrained with? Make sure you get one over so that one can't be gotten over on you. Be on constant lookout for somebody trying to victimize or take advantage of you. Be on defense at all times. Boy, that makes for a really interesting growth journey when you actually want to try to open your heart up to somebody.
Sure.
I'm dead serious to this day. And I mean this with all the respect in the world. My wife knows this, but I trust her at 98%. And I can't let that go. I'm trying to let it go. I've talked through it. I've prayed on it. It's God's working on me. But that one's still a thing. There's just not that 100. Too many people that were supposed to be there did things that shouldn't have been done at times they shouldn't, that I was incapable of processing, that resulted in me just being very skeptical. And I saw stuff, man. And I think, Evan, you've heard the story about the man in the fireplace. Chris, I'll tell it to you sometime. I'll tell it to the show sometime. But that, like, literally a man lived in our fireplace. And I had to try to explain it to the school administration when I made the, like, draw your family picture. So, you know, it's like, you know, so then along comes like, no, you put all your trust in this person. Well, I did that until I got disappointed. And then I said to Chris's technique, he uses bottles. I have bricks. I don't put things in bottles. I put them in rooms.
Yeah.
Roll them off.
Yeah. Roll them off, lose the fucking key in the address.
But
Chris, one of the things that you also said was, you know, how you beat yourself up. Yeah, you've got 3 failed marriages. You fucked up this, you fucked up that. You carry that weight. I had a pastor once, and I'll say it the way he said it, and then I'll tell you the secular way it works. He said that guilt comes from the devil, conviction comes from God. So understanding the difference between guilt and conviction is the key to sort of freeing yourself up from that. Now, the secular way of saying that is guilt is bullshit. You know, conviction is awesome, right? Because guilt is the thing that you just, it's a lie. It's bullshit. It's meant to keep you down.
The challenge, whatever you want to call it. And again, 2019, a lot of it came to head. You know, when you're in court, I don't know how many times I was in court in 2019, more times than I care to remember, let's put it that way. When you're in court and opposing counsel is doing every trick in the book to do everything they possibly can to drag everything they possibly can up about you, it's not nice, and it gets to you. And you know, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm 48 years old. I was then, you know, I'm hitting 50 this year. Let's face it. I'm 48 years old, and this is my fucking life. Really? You know, that takes some head wrangling. That takes a lot of head wrangling. And the problem is then I spin and I want revenge against the lawyer. And that's because, you know, they have their own way of saying what's right and what's wrong and all that other good stuff and all, yeah, And that is not a good place to end up at. And especially with the skills that we have, let's face it, doing that, piece of fucking cake. But not the right thing to do. Again, not feeding the right wolf, not focusing on the right thing. The best thing, and thankfully, you know, listening to Jen, hugging the dogs enough, realizing I got a 16-year-old, now a 16-year-old hanging out. I got to figure this shit out. And for me, it's not pride for not asking anything. I don't want to burden other people. I think that's part of it. I don't want to, again, I close down. I hunker down, I figure the shit out in my head, I get my own plan together, and off we go. And so far, this is where we are at.
Well, Chris, this might be a revelation to you.
But the truth is, man, when you're not sharing things with people that care about you and not asking for help, you're actually burdening them.
Yeah, I know, because they know something's
for help,
wrong.
Because they care about you so much.
Help. There are people that are
Exactly.
built to help, that get happy when they can provide it. And you're screwing them out of an opportunity to have joy.
Oh, there's plenty of other people on this planet that need help.
I've been through the same dumbass lives, man. I was divorced, and I remember what I did. I just isolated.
Yeah.
I didn't come out.
Yep.
I just sat in my house. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I had a bottle. I was still drinking at the time, and I had a friend that I'll never forget. He showed up. I didn't invite him over. I was actually pissed off that he came over. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? Leave me the fuck alone. And he wouldn't leave. And so what it became was, it was more of a burden for him not to help me than it was for him to help me. It was a freeing experience for him to come and help a brother out,
Yeah. There was somebody that lives close by that came over a couple of times that way last year as well. There's a subgroup of us, Chris Hagnady, Jim Manley, and a couple of us that are Ryan's in, a different Ryan. What is it with Ryans? Ryans seem to be nice people. There's another Ryan in it, and he lives 5 minutes from here. And he came over a couple of times. He's like, hey, I'm going to appear on your fucking doorstep every now and again. I want to make sure you're okay.
Yeah. Yeah, because people do actually care about you, man. I respect the things that you do. I respect the fact that you have the skills that you have and all that other shit. But that's not why I love you. You know what I mean? I could give two shits about that. I'd still be there for you because we've built a relationship now.
Yeah, no, absolutely agreed. Absolutely.
I love it the way you think. I'll just be honest. Your brain resonates. I believe you are, as you said, our squirrels are in sync, right? But seriously, it's true with Evan too, because it's lonely. It's lonely when you don't. At least that's been my experience. Because I see the cookie sheet completely differently, and I'm like, that's not what you see. And they're like, you're crazy. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then I run to guys like you, and you're like, duh, that's the way cookie sheets are. And I'm like, I know, right?
See, I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy.
I remember years and years and years ago, in the UK, wife number one, she used to love rubbing my face into it that she was a member of Mensa, at least in the UK, member of Mensa. And I always remember, I think I was before I went into the military. I remember sitting down and doing like the paper, filling in the paper Mensa one, sending it in, then getting the invite, and then doing the Mensa thing, getting another invite to go to another set of meetings and doing this and this and this. Never actually told her what the score was in the UK. Came to the US, got the same shit from somebody in the US and was like, fuck you. Went to the US one, did the same and the same and the same, and then walked out. I'm like, yeah, I'm done. And it's that mentality. I can do that, no problems. Pass tests, do all that kind of shit and everything else. But other things, absolutely useless at. Absolutely terrible. This is why I love it when, we have our skills in our industry. You've got the blacksmithing stuff, which is fucking amazing. I have it's Jesse, perfect example. Jesse at Hillbilly Hit Squad. I sit and watch him as he's putting hit and miss engines together, as he's welding. I mean, his ability to weld and do all, I'm in awe. I'm in absolute freaking awe of that, because I just don't possess that capability. And the same thing, the gen that organizes me, I'm like, I can't do this. I need that around me.
Well, I can make a bent up piece of metal, but I ain't making no AI soul. So, I mean, there's that.
My AI soul is only asking for cups of tea and biscuits at the moment. That's about as far.
So far, I like it then. I mean, jury's still out, but so far I like it.
It's good. It wants tea and biscuits.
So Chris and Evan, I think we're so afraid to talk about this because there is so much stigma associated with this. we think mental health, we think like the worst end outcome of schizophrenia. We think the worst end outcome of autism, right? We don't think highly functioning members of society. We don't think visionaries. I mean, have you guys actually listened to Elon Musk? Have you ever really heard the man talk?
I've been fortunate to meet him a couple of times. I did some stuff with SpaceX and Tesla and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
There's an extra spark, and because of that extra spark, there's a couple that are missing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's like John. John, I love him to death. McAfee. I absolutely love him. He's a good friend. He's a friend of Eddie's and mine. We keep in touch with him on about a weekly basis and stuff like that.
Wow.
I love him.
From the boat, huh?
Yeah. Oh, let's just not even go there on that one. But at the same time, he is madder than a barrel full of squirrels. But at the same time, just how the brain works, it's fascinating for like how that brain works and how it thinks and how it processes. And it is skipping. It's going from 1 to 5 to 7 to 25.
Mm-hmm.
I love that careful side of it.
Well, I would have loved to have had a conversation with Tesla.
Yeah. Oh.
Right? Because I'm pretty sure in order to be at that level of thinking. But then again, so is that is it mental illness, or is it our inability to cope with our reality that's manifesting itself as these negative feelings, as these evil feelings? Is it?
Well, sometimes it's a gift, right? Embrace the things that you are good at. One of the things I've learned in business, Chris, you said, you failed so much at, following the traditional, corporate laddery bullshit. Well, I'm the same way, man. That's why one of the reasons why I started my own business. And we make business decisions that anybody else that would look at it would say that's fucking crazy. Like right now, I'm instructing our executive leadership team to spend every dime we possibly can. I don't like cash. What does cash do for me? Cash doesn't grow a business.
Yeah, that's true.
Go buy some shit. Go invest some things. And while other people are kind of hunkering down, I'm like, well, we don't know what's going to happen next week. Yeah, fuck, I don't either. But it's this weird shit that one of the things I learned is there are lots of things, the better I understand myself, there are lots of things I'm really, really good at. And there's a ton of shit that I'm really not good at. I suck at. So what I try to do is I try to find people that are awesome at those things. Like I suck with money. Every dime you give me, I'm spending. Fuck it. What am I going to do with it?
Oh, I'm
going to go buy another Harley.
Don't even. I went out today. We got some money coming in from like some contracts. It's been really nice, and a couple of people paid in advance, all that kind of stupidity. I go out driving today because I'm like, I'm done. Fuck it. I need a break. I go out driving today, and I like watches. I like nice watches, and they don't have to be brand new. I don't care about the age of the history, but I like watches. I went out onto Craigslist. I'm driving. I stopped off the car, and again, talk about squirrel moments. I'm like, I suddenly thought I was wearing one of the Tudors. I had one of the Tudors on, and I'm like, Tudor watch, Craigslist. I literally pulled over into this car park. 20 minutes. I'm going through Craigslist. I literally almost called a couple of people on Craigslist because there's money in the fucking account. It's like, ooh, spare money. There's money in the account, and I stopped myself. I'm like, breathe, take a step back, get back in the fucking car and keep driving. Yeah,
I actually wrote a bit.
I
haven't even told my wife about it, and if she's watching, then she's used to it. But I started writing a business plan of if I bought 100 Harley Davidson motorcycles and then rented them out, how much would I need to make per day?
Yeah.
Like what the fuck am I thinking here?
That sounds terribly familiar. Same thing I've had the same conversation in my own head with watches. There's a company that does it. They rent them out. You subscribe into the system and off you go. I'm like, hey, I could make it. Well, it's shit. It's like whiskeys. It's not like freaking whiskeys. I mean, I had to sell last year. I sold 530, 540 bottles of whiskey. that I had to sell last year. Thankfully, it paid most of the lawyer bill down. Not the whole lawyer bill, but most of the lawyer bill down. But I'm fortunate. I still have 200 unopened bottles and about 200 or so open bottles, give or take a few. I've had a bunch of times I've sat there thinking about doing the speakeasies or having tasted and just doing all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, same thing. Just how do I do it? What can I do? How can I maximize it? All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. Well, and you know, so knowing that I suck at things, a lot of things, I look for people that can compensate for me.
Yeah.
So I have a CFO who is amazing.
Yep.
Who understands how to communicate with me about money. I suck with money so bad that I don't even want to hear about it. Like, you don't need to tell me how much money we have. I don't care. Do we have enough to make payroll? Cool. Do we have more than it takes to make payroll? Great.
So
let's spend it.
So I care. I actually care. I care because for me, it's a value. Again, I got put on probably like all of us, I got put on a pedestal when I was a kid. I wasn't allowed to fall off, had to succeed, all this kind of stuff. So I put a value on the money. I put a value on my time. And to me, it's like, and I just went through this with a client. And for me, I put a value. I care about the money. I care about earning it, and I care about bringing it in. I like seeing the money come in because to me, as crazy as it sounds, it's almost a validation of worth, and not in a monetary sense. It's like, hey, if people are willing to pay for something, maybe I am worth something. Maybe I have a value. It's fucked up way of doing it, but it also, to your point, it also means I can pay 3 or 4 other people to do stuff with me. I've got Jen, who's as organized as all hell to be, and I freaking love her for it. She's amazing, and I couldn't work without her. Same thing with Megan, same thing with Jake and a couple of others that are doing stuff with me. And
right.
And it's a means to an end. It's great because I can actually pay them money. It's kind of fun. It's actually really cool. I'm like, hey, do you want to do this? And I can pay you for 20 hours to do this. It's actually a ton of fun. It's like squirrels on there for them. But it also means to me that it's like there's value. I have value, and it's a fucked up way of looking at it, but it's.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, man, everybody's got their way, man, and I'm not one to judge. But I mean, take like me and Ryan. I'm an introvert. I don't want to be out there. I don't want to talk all the time. I want to sit in my office and do shit, make shit, do whatever the hell I do.
Yeah.
Ryan is awesome with people. So let's work together, and Ryan gets me. So it's like perfect. And so now what's the next gap? In Ryan, we just, we're engaged with, Big Fish. Right?
Yep.
Big Fish is a guy
it's about having the night that you got to have that formula.
Yeah.
Everybody's got a strength. You need the right key set of strengths to get the full. But you're right, Ev. And it's. You play to your strengths, right? But then, when Chris talks about value, right? And you've heard me say this 1,000 times, Evan, I just want to add value. That's how I find value, is by adding value. And if I'm not adding value, I'll go somewhere that I am, right? It's like, whether that's in a relationship, whether that's, and I've had some long-term friendships come to an end because there was no more value to add to that relationship. You know what I mean? Like it just kind of played itself out. And I think a big part of mental health is finding that self-value, finding that self-worth. Self-esteem is worth its weight in gold. But self-esteem is rooted in seeing the value you have. And the best leaders help you see that value in yourself. But, if you don't have a cheerleader, get a cheerleader. I guarantee you having my wife be my cheerleader has kept me on the right side of the line more times than not. And we just went through this ourselves. She did some really amazing work. It got picked up by some folks outside of her industry, and her family was less than enthused. And I was very enthused. I'm like, let me be your cheerleader. Like, don't, now is not a reason for you to have a low moment. You just accomplished something amazing, and you're about to get sad about it because you didn't get the reaction out of these people that you hoped or wished or wanted. Well, I got a lot of background in not getting reactions that I wished, hoped, or wanted.
Well, expectations are shit, right? Expectations just set you up for getting disappointed.
I expect nothing. I expect nothing. If I get another breath, I am grateful for it because you're right. But it took me a long time and a lot of introspection to get there. And she wasn't there yet. Maybe some of the listeners tonight aren't there yet. Maybe you still have expectations of the life you thought you were going to have versus the one you have. But if you make the best out of what you got and realize that you are valuable, you matter. Like, you matter in this world, believe it or not. No matter who you are, you have value to add, and you matter, and you are worth something. Say that to yourself. I've had to say it to myself. I've had to pump myself up before. Believe it or not, people, I get nervous before I do this stuff. I get nervous before I get on stage. I get nervous before I talk. Because I want to do a good job, because I find my value.
Yeah, that really surprises me. I mean, again, you have so much knowledge and so much passion and so much to give, and it shows that it's natural. It looks like it's natural, if that makes sense. It looks like it flows. It looks like it's like, hey, I got this. We're good to go.
I'm actually just a scared little boy that's trying to fucking figure out how to adult. I'll just be honest with all y'all. Like, that's the reality. That is the truth. Like, I didn't have the worst childhood. I definitely didn't have the best. But what I learned about the world by the time I was of a pivotal age was a lot more than people in their 50s know now.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I am, because I do want to do a good job. And part of that is rooted in a need for the old pat on the back, the old validation. It all goes back to the human need for validation and acceptance. We've talked about this before, you know?
Well, one of the things, you know, Chris, you were talking about how you got beat the shit out of by these lawyers. You know, one of the things that I learned too is consider the source, right, of who's saying what they're saying. Does it even matter? Is it somebody that I give a shit about? And then it leads to the point where the older I get, the more I don't give a shit what people think about me. And then when I get up on stage, I don't give a shit. I'm there because I love you, and I want to impart as much wisdom as I can into this. I don't want to waste your time. But if you hate me, so be it. I probably won't see you again.
And let me clarify. I don't care if I'm liked. I learned that early on in life. I don't care if you like me. But if I'm going to do it, I want to do it well. I want to be my best self. Back to, there's the guy that I was, the guy that I am, and the guy I'm trying to be. So I always strive to be my better self or my best self. I fall short all the time. Trust me, hang out with me for a while. You'll be like, damn, dude, you hit the wall. Like, what the hell? But I learned to stop feeling bad about being a human. I just, you know, that's the whole thing. And I have to work at it, and I have to remind myself, and, you know, to my particular beliefs, the devil's trying to drag me down, right? Whether that's the sadness in your heart, whatever label you want to apply to it, the one I apply is the devil, but it's this negative evilness that wants to pull me to being angry or sad or worried.
Well, that was
none of that's helping me achieve my goals.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the whole thing. That was, you know, to Jen's giving a huge amount of credit to her, was she's like, look, you can focus on the noose that you have to deal with, or you can accept it's there and focus on what you want to do, you know. And if you focus on what you want, so if you keep building the way you're building, either pairing up, you know, with you guys or whatever the hell the future holds, you'll get there. You'll do it because that's just who the person you are. That's just who you are. But you won't do it if you focus on the weight and the noose and everything else. The only way you're going to do it is just accept that's what it is and deal with it. And then, to your point, feed it, do the right energy and all the other stuff. But fuck, it takes some effort.
Well, and to bring some of this stuff full circle too, about where I was going with the business stuff, about surrounding yourself with people that are great at the that you're not. Take that same concept and apply it to life. Right? I have people in my life And some of them I purposely sought out, and some of them just came through whatever, grace of God, whatever it is. But I have people in my life who compensate for the things that I really suck at. You know, Ryan, you're a good friend. You keep watch on certain things. You understand, my quirkiness. You know, you're very observant in that, and I appreciate that. My wife she keeps my life together. You know, without her, bills don't get paid. Without her, I eat McDonald's every day. You know, without her, I wear the same clothes every day. You know, I mean, she just
There would be a
compensates.
little fire behind me.
Yeah. You know, and then, you know, there are people in my life, you know, like Kevin. Kevin, despite how much he pisses me off almost all the time, he's a guy who has never once, ever lied to me. Never. And has always meant well. So he's the executor of my will. That's how trusted he is for me.
Jesse is out of the world, yeah.
So now I'm looking for like, okay, where's my gap from, you know, this last funk that I was in for, you know, months. Do I need to fill a gap? Do I need to find somebody that can, you know, help me cope? Because I am weak, man. I mean, shit. Any of us who think that we're all that and we're strong and we can do this stuff, my dog is barking.
Is that your little wolf, Matt?
That's one of the dogs. What the hell? It's me, man. We're buddies. Why are you barking at me? Here, I'll show you this one. This is Albert.
Oh.
What's up, Albert? He's the protector.
I
Awesome.
like the tie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's out to get somebody. You gonna get somebody? All right, sorry. Dogs are another way to cope with life's stresses. So to your point, Chris, got you through. I just lost, you know, Vike a few weeks ago. Got Violet. Life is back to awesome. Dogs are the best.
Yeah. Understatement. All right, I'm going to pause for a second. The pair of you talk now for a second. I actually feel like I would like a refill, if you don't mind.
I like it.
No, I don't mind. So Ryan,
Yes.
am I still getting that right?
Yeah, you're getting it right. I mean, if you would like to address me by my formal name assigned by my father, it was Ruin, because I ruined his life.
Ruin Pooter.
Uh-huh. Well, so,
No,
you know.
Yeah. Well, you seem to be a guy to me that, you know, when I talk to you, and very observant, and you seem like you mostly have your shit together most of the time. You know what I mean? I feel like I get more help from you than I give to you. Is there going to be a day when I can return the favor a little bit more? Yeah.
You know what it is, Ev? When I take on a commitment or I take on a responsibility, so this all is rooted in my philosophy of who I'm trying to be, the guy I want to be. And the guy I want to be is accountable. The guy I want to be has his shit together, gets his things done, handles that business, puts a little bit more in than he takes out, right? That's the guy I want to be. So all of my actions, activities, and behaviors, I try to keep that in focus. You say, you know, good job, right? Well, that's my goal, right? The guy I want to be gets told good job. And he does that through accountability, responsibility, you know, being, you know, there's a reason that my phone number is the speed dial for a handful of humans that go, when it really gets bad, when it's all completely falling apart, I know one dude that's gonna be like, yeah, it's all good. I knew this was gonna happen. I was ready for it. I got extras. I planned ahead for you to be here too, right? And
So you have numbers that you call.
Say what?
You have numbers of other people on speed dial that you can call.
You know, that is a very small list. I do. My wife actually said this to me once. She said, you know, who do you call when shit goes wrong? And I said, the mirror. And part of that's rooted in a self-reliance, right? Like once I figured out that like people kept telling me that I had to worry about myself and nobody else would worry about me, And then they demonstrated behaviors that led me to believe that was a very true statement. I became self-reliant. And so I do struggle, like Chris, I struggle to make the call. The blessing that I have is that I have my wife. And we are very much, that I have my wife, and that we are very much each other's counterbalance to mental health. Like, hey, Ryan, I noticed you haven't really hobbied much in too many days. And I know that's a precursor of you not being your best self, which generally means you're not feeling good about things, right? We've learned to identify early on when one or the other is slipping, and to call it out and to know that we have that. So I have that safety net. So that's really good for me. But yeah, I mean, I want to have it together, but I'm not kidding. A lot of times that I delivered it and it looked amazing was a plate that I caught 35 seconds before it hit the floor and came swooping through the door of the kitchen like, ta-da. You know what I mean? Like, it's because, right. And part of it is I need that pressure too. So some of the best diamonds that I make under pressure. So it's,
I purposefully procrastinate because the best shit I create is under pressure.
There's something to it. Actually, they did a study and they don't know if it's causation or correlation, but they found that like the best in the game when it comes to presentations finish their presentations from hours to minutes before they're due.
Chris finishes his while he's still up on stage.
I watched him do that. I was in the audience when it happened.
Yep. I've seen it too.
But, you know, yeah, but, you know, part of it is the stigma too. Like I remember I would tell people I was ADHD, and if they knew about it, they'd go, duh. I mean, you might as well just have a sticker on your forehead. Like, are you kidding? You're a squirrel in a bag trying to get out. But if they didn't, you know, because when I was a kid going to school, that was a thing. Like, they didn't know how to deal with. So I couldn't sit still. I'd test really good. I knew the material like Chris, right? I couldn't explain to you how I knew the answers, but I got them right. I didn't want to do the work. I got real frustrated. Like, why should I have to tell you for a couple of years in my elementary and junior high?
I never did homework.
Well, I figured out I might have been smarter than a teacher or two, and that started to give me an issue, right? Because I was a rebellious kid that's like, yeah, no. I'm not listening to authority because I figured out authority doesn't actually know what they're doing. I think I was about 15 when I realized adults are just teenagers with money. So,
yeah,
you know, I don't know. I wish more people would be willing to say it, because if more people would come out and say, today I'm having a shit day because I can't explain it, because I just don't feel very good today, and it's okay, and I'm not at my 100%, and it's okay. Pretty soon you'd find out that's like 98+% of the world. And then the like 2% that are just overly chipper, well, Chris, you and I know what we need to do with those folks.
Yep. Put in the Mariana Trench with a pair of fucking concrete Wellingtons, the bastard.
You can't be overly chipper now. Calm down.
No, shit ain't gonna be allowed.
Because that's also a coping mechanism.
Still don't care. They're still down at the bottom of the Mariana fucking Trench. Bastards.
Yeah, I've been known to be overly chipper.
You're not overly chipper.
No.
You're a good balance. You're what I would describe as generally positive when you interact with people, regardless of how you feel.
Depends on if I'm wearing pants.
Yeah.
We had that debate earlier in the chat. We were talking about trousers, pants, kilts, underwear. Underwear is best worn on the head with 2 pencils stuffed up one each nostril.
Well, we were talking about this in a meeting today at Security Studio about wearing pants. Wasn't it? Was that the meeting?
It was, and I believe we agreed that in 2020, pants, if you have on pants, you're doing Zooms wrong. That I believe was the takeaway.
Now,
Right, but
again,
it's also important to remember that the Zoom meeting is over and put pants on before you go to the grocery store.
Yes,
yeah, always.
generally a good idea.
So
It's
this
only
is the
happened to me.
difference between American and English. Pants in English are underwear. That's your underwear. Pants over here are trousers.
Ah,
So yeah, we
okay.
definitely have a different thing going on at the moment, but it is what it is.
Well, you should generally have on UK pants, England pants. You want to have those on during a Zoom meeting.
Not with a kilt. Not with a kilt.
You don't need to.
Nope. Free swinging fruit and veg. End of discussion.
I got a leather chair. That ain't happening.
And if you're not wearing a kilt either, just make sure you clean the bottom really well before you
There
sit
we
down.
go. Yeah, because it ain't pretty at that point. Klingons and hairy bits. It's just not good.
No, nobody likes the stain that you leave behind if you don't clean that shit up.
I have had a
Just
couple of used cars in my time that I've looked in on the driver's seat and gone, I don't know what you were doing, but I got a pretty good idea. And yep, no, we'll go to the next used car at this point.
Exactly. Yeah, some things you just can't clean up.
Yeah, just ain't pretty.
All right, so shit, that's a lot of stuff, man. A lot of weighty stuff that we talked about.
Yeah.
You know, it's something like, you know, being honest with yourself is a good, you know, obviously a really good skill. Pride, kill it. It's bullshit, in my opinion. You know, it convinces me to do things that I shouldn't do, that aren't healthy for me, not go get help when I need help. You know, it convinces me that, you know, my shit is probably better than it actually really is. You know, it gives me kind of a different sense of reality than reality. You know, setting up a support structure for those of you who have wives. You know, my wife is a rock for me. But if you don't have a wife, well, then those things that we get support from that, how can you compensate?
Yeah.
Don't go through this shit alone.
I think for me, back in 2015, 2016, when shit hit the fan with Owl, I wasn't open and transparent for a while because I wasn't allowed to be. But when I was allowed to be, I put stuff out. I mean, there's stuff out on LinkedIn. When I had to declare Chapter 11 because of all the shit that was going on with the company and with the ex and everything else, I put a fairly lengthy post out about, hey, this is what I just had to do. Learn from my mistakes. You know, same thing. I've put it out a bunch of times when I've sat down and had to, and you know, shit's gone wrong. There's a level of cathartic, I wouldn't call it closure, but for me, it's almost a way of processing it to go, look, for crying out loud, don't make the same fucking mistakes I did, please. You know, I can't help what's happened. I can learn from it. I can do better from it. But I need others to be able to look at this and go, oh shit, I'm just about to do that, or I'm thinking of doing that. And I mean, that I think for me is some level of like acceptance, closure, whatever you want to call it. And I think the same goes for the stuff that we're doing now. You know, the mental health discussion is, I don't like who I am at the moment physically. I got to be honest. I mean, I'm looking at who I am. I'm not happy with who I am, and I know that's affecting a lot of other things. I want to do something about it. I need to do something about it. I have to focus on doing something about it. So that takes time. But I don't like looking in the mirror because it was always one of those weird ones when I'd look in the mirror, because I'd look in the mirror and I'd start arguing with myself. You know, in the back of my head, there was something going on like, you know, you are not worthy, you're not this, whatever. And now I do it and I look in the mirror and I'm like, I add to that extra list of like, you're unfit. There's no way you would do an adventure race. There's no way you can throw hammers anymore. You're fat and all the other stuff. And it's that fucking hit list. It's now like, okay, I'm not going to feed that wolf. What do I do to change it? The bike is now in the lab. I got one of the road bikes is in the lab. I got the stationary thing that's in the way. It's going to put it on. I'm just going to jump on the damn thing and just going to work on it. But it's, it's putting those steps in place and being able to do that and having the dog to hug, which helps.
Well, I
Do you think
always
it's
say,
possible?
if you're not comfortable in the skin you're in, talk to somebody until you are. I know. You didn't want to hear that. You didn't want to
No.
hear that. But you know what? It's true. If you're not comfortable in the skin you're in, talk to somebody until you are. Because one of two things is going to come out of that. Either the motivation to make the change needed to get comfortable, or an acceptance of you are what you are and who you are, and now you're comfortable.
I've never been good at that. I mean, I think that's part of the problem.
Oh, then you should call me. I got you. Okay? Trust me. I have raised a child
Yeah.
with mental health concerns. I live with a spouse who is a 10, 11, a 15, and looks in the mirror and goes, "It's okay." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? You walk through a room with a robe and a hood and a this and that, and you still take my breath away." So I know firsthand dealing with the self-esteem issues and there is a comfort because you are, and I know this is hard for you to hear, and a lot of people tell you this, but you are a special human, and that's okay. It doesn't make you better. Let me be clear. It doesn't make you better, smarter, faster, any of these things, right? But you got a dose of something different than the run of the everyday folk. Okay? I've met a lot of people that didn't get sprinkled, whatever the three of us and others that are mindseted a similar way got sprinkled. And you know this. You run into a Matt Kroger when you go, right?
Yeah.
You know?
The matter is everybody. It's special. Everybody's got something.
They do, and that's it, and that's the secret, right? So there is, if you can grab onto that and go, you know what, I am valuable because I woke up today, and I have this precious gift of time. What am I going to do with it? Shift your focus away from what's not right with you to what you can do to make something better for somebody else. This is another trick I use. Right? Why am I going to waste time thinking about what's not right with me when I could put that energy into making somebody else's life better?
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly, that to me is why I love LinkedIn. I mean, I'll put a bunch of stuff out on LinkedIn just to get people thinking and that kind of stuff. That's I gotta be honest, that's my outlet. That's my cathartic moments when I sit down and I'm able to do that stuff. Same with blog posts and same with this kind of stuff. Yeah, Rachel was yelling at me. I don't know. I'm still, I am not good at accepting me. Let's just leave.
Well, you have my cell number. I challenge you to call it and see where we get it.
Yeah, I know.
You have mine too. You have mine too, but don't call it, please. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, call me anytime, man. But you know, I was going to pose a question, and you know, I'm not sharing video right now because I'm actually having an energy drink, and I don't want to be yelled at. Yeah. So screw that.
Now is when you decide to have an energy drink.
Right. So anyway, but how much, one of the places where I've found happiness is being content with where I'm at. Just being content. I have so many things. When I look around, I'm content. I don't need anything more. I don't need any more money. I'm not rich. I don't have millions. I don't have, well, maybe I don't have billions. I don't have whatever. There's always more. There's always something more.
Yeah.
But I ate today. I'm content. Even if I had to struggle. I mean, you look at people that, some of the happiest people I've ever met are people who have hardly anything. They found content with where they're at. You know, we're all A-type personalities. We all push ourselves. We want to make a bigger difference. I want to convince people that, you know, to stop clicking on shit. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. And you get wrapped up in it, and it almost becomes a death cycle because you didn't find content. Be content and then go for that shit, but start from a place of being content.
You know, it's so I separate things, and maybe this is also some of the challenges. I look around, you know, and to your point, I got running water. I'm better off than fucking probably 60+%. I don't know what the percentage is, 50 or 60% of the
It's
planet.
a lot.
To be honest. Yeah. I have running water. I have food in my fridge. I have a fridge, and it works 24/7 mostly, unless Excel fucks up. I have an amazing house and friends. And don't get me wrong, I understand fundamentally. I understand the math on that. Totally understand the math. Understand the algorithm. Just not happy with me, and I can't figure that one out, and I've never have been able to. That's always one of those ones where I've put it off to the side. I have no clue how to deal with it. I can figure everything else out. I can go for a drive and I'm happy with that. I love the cars. Sometimes for a while until I change them every 6 fucking months.
So question for you, Chris. Whose measuring stick are you using? I don't measure myself against anybody but myself. Whose measuring stick are you using to set your happiness bar?
I don't know.
Think about that.
I know.
It used to be your own stick.
It used to be my father's. It actually for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time.
No, measure with your own stick.
I got rid of that one a long time ago. It used to be my father's.
You just did this. Hey, hold up. You just did this. Measure with your own stick.
That's right.
You were pointing down.
But I'm not happy with the. I'm not.
I said like this.
That's even worse.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have an answer. I just don't have an answer. I think that's
because that was a revelation for me when I realized early on that when I started to really think about these things and why do I feel how I feel, it kind of began my journey, if you will, into managing this stuff. I realized that I was holding myself to standards that were not defined by me. It was other people's expectations of who I was supposed to be, or society's expectation of a path I was supposed to. I didn't graduate college. Who the hell am I? I have no degrees.
For me, okay, the weight thing.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've done stuff I'm not proud of that, like, other people would also not be proud of. You know, like.
If the weight's an easy one, I mean, that's simple. I know how I used to be. I used to do adventure race. I mean, we'll ignore the military side of it for the minute. That was nuts, let's be honest. But I mean, I was 185, 195 pound when I came back from Bolivia. After marriage number 2 fell to pieces, I went down to Bolivia for 6 months and went climbing. I came back, and for about a year or two afterwards, I was about 185, 195 pound. I'm now 265. I was 310 when I was doing the Scottish Games and doing hammer. I did the Olympic trials in Portland years ago. And I mean, I was 310, 315, 320, but it was solid. I mean, I was bench pressing stupid amounts and all that shit. Our legs were doing stupid things. And then age takes over, and then you suddenly realize you're not doing as much. And I think part of my yardstick I held against myself is how I feel I could be or I should be. I should be 200, 210 pounds. I should be able to go riding. I should be fitter than I am. But I'm not focusing on it, and that's pissing me off as well. And so I have to deal with all that shit. So, and I'm not dealing with it, which is pissing me off, and I'm beating myself up about it. And just
right. Well, you get in the circle. Right.
Yeah, no.
So the ADHD, anxiety, depression circle, as soon as you get depressed, you're now anxious about being depressed, which then makes you more distracted, which makes the ADD worse, which makes you more anxious and makes you more depressed.
I don't take anything for stuff. And there are times when
medication is fabulous. It works wonderful. It kills my personality.
And that's
so it solves the problem.
Yeah, no, I get it. I've dealt with it the way I've dealt with it, not overly successfully, let's face it. Pluses, minuses, like anything, swings and roundabouts.
Well, dude, I'm my own biggest critic, like you are. I hear it, when you talk. I'm not the same way. I was in college. My waist was a 24. I weighed 165. I was a 2-time state champion swimmer. I was in the top shape. I mean, we used to swim. I'd swim 20,000 yards a day in 2 days, 10,000 yards in the morning, 10,000 yards at night, lift weights in the middle. And if you looked at me now, and if I were to tell you that, I swam in the Olympic trials, you'd be like, bullshit.
All right.
You're fucking fat. Well,
Hey,
all right.
I got the opposite problem. I've weighed all of 16 ounces my whole life. I finally put on a little bit of weight, and my lovely spouse looks at me and goes, "You no longer have Hank Hill butt." So I'm just saying, you got your battles, okay? But you're worried about taking them off. And my whole life, weight gainer shakes, you name it, dude. Woke up. No, that's not how I'm built. I'm gonna be a toothpick. That's just the way it is. Strong as an ox. You'd be surprised what I can do.
Yeah.
But I don't look it. And yes, and the compliment I got when I was like, man, I think I'm getting a little, weight on me was, yeah, and you no longer have Hank Hill butt. So just know that could have been said to you by the woman that you love and care about.
Right.
But I mean, it's perspective, and that's my point there, guys. Perspective.
Yeah.
Perspective
No, right.
helps your mental health.
Yeah. Oh man, we all have our demons to deal with. Let's face it.
Truth.
Yeah, it sort of feels like we did a lot of Chris therapy tonight. So, sorry, Chris.
No,
you
it's
were
okay.
getting.
We're good.
But it is a lot of it is because we do genuinely care and love you. No, it's not to condemn anything. It's not to make anybody feel guilty, make anybody feel deficient. That's all bullshit. That's all the lie. With the physical health stuff, man, I mean, shit, I'm no poster child. I mean, I get up in the morning and look at myself in the mirror and go, wow, you kind of let yourself go. But, I mean, mentally, I feel pretty good. I feel like I got that recharge that I needed. I was in a bad spot, and so I needed to find something that was going to get me reset. So that's kind of where I'm at. But when I look at other people and I try to think about things that I can do, to help other people, I think being accessible, to other people, and also, just being vulnerable, man. I mean, it's when you share your own deficiencies, when you share your own demons, you're making yourself vulnerable. And I think that doesn't feel good. It's like, well, now you can take advantage of me. Now you know that I've got problems and you know that I'm, whatever. But it's that vulnerability that helps people so much, man. When I hear other people, especially people that I respect, because it makes you relatable too. Like, here's this guy that I think is just like, you were one of those people, Chris. You're one of those people where I look up to you. I think this is a guy that's got this gift, and I've told you this from day one, this gift of communication, this gift in your writing, this gift in your thinking, this gift in, you've got all these gifts. And here's a guy who's now telling me, oh shit, you got problems too? Fuck, you're a human being? Dude, I like you even more now. Because now you're somebody I can relate to.
Right.
Before, this guy that I kind of looked up and like, all right, he's really cool and all that shit, but I can't relate to him. I mean, I'll never be like him. I'll never, But when you expose your vulnerabilities to people, and even people that, like, I know, Ryan, you said about trust, even exposing your vulnerabilities to people that you don't trust still makes you stronger. Because what the fuck are they going to do? Well, I don't give a shit what people think about me. I don't give a shit. Certain people. There's a certain circle of people that if my wife can destroy me in a heartbeat with probably 5 words.
Hank Hill butt, 4 words.
Right. But that's because I care about that sort.
I don't think I'll ever be accused of that.
Same with you, Ryan. It to me, I care about what you think. I care about it.
Yeah.
So you're a source I care about. If some dipshit on Twitter wants to, what did I use? I used the word last week of carping. If somebody was giving me shit about spreading COVID because I went to Sturgis, and I was like, carping. That's what you're doing, and I could give 2 shits.
Right. But and that's part of the skill. Like, there is a healthy dose, and this is something for another episode, but like a healthy dose of not taking it so deep inside. Like Karen and her behavior is not, I can't let that get on me. Like, so we have a saying where we come from called guard your heart.
Yes.
Okay. There's truth in this. There's truth in this. Guard your heart.
Yeah.
You need to be careful what you let get in there and affect you. You need to be careful about other people's opinions. You know, one of the things that we didn't touch on tonight, I'm going to hit real quick here is, you know, Chris, you talked a lot about body image issues and concerns about how you feel about your health and your outward appearance. And then I look at how that's been weaponized against women.
Mm-hmm.
And all the struggle that they have.
Yeah.
And
so.
I mean, it's ridiculous, man. I know, because I got one that lives in the house. I'm telling you, I'm like, but I don't understand. Like, it doesn't compute for me.
Rachel was talking about it on
Especially
the
young drooling dude that's like, but you're hot. I'm in a trash bag. I know it's hot. You know.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a whole nother segment of it, right? And then there's the mental health side of the kids and the social media and the TikTok and all that stuff. So, you know, I'd be curious if we would do another one of these and maybe spin off into some of the cesspools that don't make mental health better for folks, but really seem to be a negative. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's just certain places
Yeah, can't blame the whole internet, but yeah, there's definitely a lot of that. I mean, celebrities being a huge part of that. The image around celebrities, the image. I mean, Mo's 16. I mean, she's been into makeup now for a number of years. You know, you look at all the celebrities and everybody that's endorsing that. I will give places like Ariel. She does a lot of her shopping there. Again, she's becoming more aware, and she's like, I like the fact they use real models. You know, and there's no,
right.
I mean, I worked for Limited for a while, and I mean, the amount of freaking airbrushing they did was ridiculous.
Oh, dude, I've done my fair share of Photoshop work.
Yeah.
Nobody looks that good. You would be amazed at how ratchet some of these girls and boys look when they show up to the set for the shoot. And you're did you crawl out of a dumpster? Like, what happened to you?
Once upon a time when I was over at Limited, I mean, it was, we used to trade. I mean, there was like a behind the scenes in the IT department because they had all the originals. So I mean, there were some interesting originals versus what you saw in the shops. I mean, it's crazy. And I mean, the problem is now it still propagates. You look at so many of the celebrities, especially in the last like 6 months, how many of them have been caught out doing their own freaking photoshopping, and it looks bad and all the other stuff. Yet there are some out there who are image positive, Emma Watson and various others who are like, hey, this is who I am, Watson fucking all, get over it. I actually have a lot of respect for them because they're better than I am, to be perfectly honest as well. I'm not that good. I can't figure that out yet. Still to be determined, but there's so many people out there who are like, hey, this is who I am. So people like Ariel, and some of the sportswear places are doing the same thing. I got a ton of respect for them because they are taking that weapon away, for want of a better way of putting it.
Well, and I think the most important thing for anybody and everybody, talk about this. If you're having problems, talk about it. If you don't have somebody to talk to, find somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
Talk to us, talk to the hotline, talk to somebody. Never, ever feel like you are out of options, because you are not. There is always a human available somewhere on this planet that thinks you're pretty great and would like to see you wake up tomorrow and is willing to spend that time to be an ear to you, to listen to you, to relate to you if that's what you need, or maybe just listen. But somebody out there is available, I guarantee you. So don't ever feel like you're in a situation where there's no more hope, because there is. You know, the world's a big place. You just haven't found your person yet, and they might be at the end of that phone number that Evan put up at the beginning, right? They might be at the end of that text number. Okay, just never feel like you have to do something permanent based on temporary circumstances. Even if that's been your whole life, it's still temporary.
I think the other thing is, I know for me especially, sometimes I just don't want to talk. You know, it's actually, again, Ryan, I mean, you and I have talked a little bit about this. I don't want to have to explain because I just don't want to have to explain. It's too much hassle to explain. I can't explain it in a way that will make sense to anybody else. I can only explain it in a way that makes sense in my head, and that's not going to make sense out of my head. Sometimes it is literally just I want somebody there or something there. That's why Wolfmat's been just fucking amazing because he's just there.
Oh, wolf mutts all day, every day. Are you kidding? Like,
Yep.
and there's something to that. There's something to that. But if you don't if you don't have an outlet,
Yeah.
there is an outlet. So Evan's put this up on the screen now. You can see this. You know, text 741-741. Do that. Don't feel like there's no hope. Don't feel like no one cares.
Yeah.
We care. Okay. I did this show tonight because I care. Right. I expose parts of myself to the world. Who the hell knows where this video goes in the end? Right. And Chris did the same, and Evan did the same. And we did this because we do care about you. Okay. We genuinely don't want you to be in a situation where you can't get better. And if you choose to make that permanent decision, you're not going to be able to get better. So that's kind of my plea to the listeners, to those in the podcast. You know, text NAMI. Text them 741-741.
Yep. And to your point, I mean, we're here. We're all here. This is a community. I mean, we're about as disjointed as it's possible to be at the times from a community, but we're still a community. There's always somebody there that you can reach out to and say, hey, I just need a voice. And again, the flip side is you know, the upside is, again, with something like LinkedIn, with Twitter, with Discord and everything else, is you can just reach out to people and go, hey, how are you doing? You know, really, how are you doing? I don't want the I'm fine. I don't want the I'm hunkered down, I'm hunkered in. How the hell are you doing? Brain in the right place, brain in the wrong place. Where's the weapon? How close is it to you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
yeah,
totally.
that's absolutely true. There are some unique things about us in our industry that make us, you know, potentially even more prone to, you know, mental illness things. You know, there's a lot of ego in our industry. There's a lot of pride in our industry. We are disjointed. You know, I know sometimes just the work that we do seems sort of isolated. A lot of the work that I do in an office by myself. And, you know, a lot of things I do too, you know, I get comfortable with other people taking credit for my work, and I don't mind that, you know, but some people do. Some people feel like they've been slighted for it. You know, there's just some unique things, I think, in our industry that make us, you know, susceptible, probably. You know, it's not like first responder kind of susceptible, but still susceptible. And if we're not paying attention to each other, if we're not paying attention to ourselves, you know, we can easily find ourselves in a dark place like Chris was last year in 2019, like I was just a few weeks ago, like Ryan has, you know, many times before.
Been there, done that. Got a t-shirt and a hat.
Right. So, I mean, getting help is not a bad thing. It's a great thing. Yeah. So that's kind of one of the big tools that I took away from just this last week was use my tools, man. I got tools. Use them. They're useless if you don't use them.
True. Very, very true. And I think, you know, to add on to what Ryan was saying as well, which is, you know, whichever way you want to look at it, you know, channel your energy, feed the right wolf, whichever way you want to look at it. I mean, you got two options at the end of the day. You know, you can either go chase and go spiral down, or you can go not quite fuck it, but not far off of it. What do I need to do to get out of it, with or without help? You know, it's as simple as that. And we're here. We're always here.
Yeah. Cool. Well, good episode, guys.
Yeah. Good
well, next week's mine, and I haven't picked it yet, but I will soon, and I promise I will make it a lighthearted topic.
Right.
this is really important. This is really good. And now I'm going to go process for a couple of hours.
Yep.
Well, and now you can feel, the fact everything's got perspectives, right? So you can look at this and go, well, this is kind of a dark topic, or you can look at it and go, you know what, I feel like today we made a difference. We talked about something that does have a stigma associated with it, a bullshit stigma.
Yeah.
And maybe somebody somewhere listening tonight, listening to a recording somewhere down the road, maybe their life will be saved. Maybe it'll be changed because of this. So I don't look at it as a dark thing at all. I think it's a great thing that we talked
No, but
about.
it's hard. It's hard. I'll be honest.
Sure.
Just even speaking about my experiences, right? That didn't come toll free.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's not dark. Let me be clear on that. Like, I do not think, because dark is part of the problem. It's why the stigma is there. It's not, we're all dealing with this. I can find any parent in America right now and pull them out for a hot second and go, so how's it really going? Oh, I'm about to murder the children, my spouse, burn the house down.
Yep. Oh yeah.
If I got a remote school, they're going to eat a Chromebook,
Yeah.
So it's no one is alone in this, but it is, it's hard. It's hard to confront your own mental health. It's hard to deal with that of others. One real quick story as we close that I want to tell is about my wife's father. And he spent a lifetime not dealing with his mental illness. This led to addiction issues. This led to isolation issues. This ultimately led to his death. And it was a slow, painful, ugly death. And it was because of untreated anxiety. This man had crippling anxiety, and he used booze and drugs to try to manage it, but not proper medication, not seeing a doctor. And he did that for so many years that it ultimately broke his body. And he died, and it was awful. And the saddest part of that story was that his daughters never got to know him until the last week of his life, when he finally had a moment of clarity, when he was finally sober, and he realized that he had the issues he had. And that was just heartbreaking. So if you've got people in your life that have substance issues, that's a sign of mental health concerns. If they're always angry, that's a sign of mental health concerns. If they're always sad, or, honestly, if they're always happy, that's also probably a sign of some kind of mental health concern. So just know that it isn't always dark and dreary and immediate. And sometimes it takes a long time, but it never ends well if you don't treat it. So seek help. Call somebody, call us, call the hotlines.
Yeah.
I love you, people. I love you,
Right on.
you two gentlemen specifically, but I love the listeners as well.
Yeah. Same way.
I don't even know them yet.
They keep tuning in. I have to love them.
No, I
Who the
love
hell sits through a Harry Potter every week?
I know. 2.25 hours.
Yeah, this is awesome.
This was
Well,
good.
hopefully you guys all benefited. I know I did. So
Yeah.
I love you guys. Have a great night, all right?
You too,
See you
guys.
later, gents.
Take care. Stay safe. Love
Bye.
everybody. Take care, guys.